Hey, what's up, Lightbolt Joe here. Today we're going to discuss the 1978 cult classic film Halloween. So, directed by John Carpenter, who also did the music, and then he co-wrote this with Deborah Hill. Um, Very quick, hour and a half. This was an indie film at the time, which then superseded everyone's expectations at the box office. And then we have now 5 different timeline multiverses. We have multiple sequels. It's still continuing on all these decades later. Jamie Lee Curtis plays the iconic character of Laurie in this. Um, we start out Halloween 1963. 6-year-old Michael Myers decides to put on his clown mask and stab with a kitchen knife, his sister Judith, um, for reasons unknown. Goes to a mental health facility. 15 years later, we're now October 30th, 1978, and his Dr. Loomis, is going to the hospital to transport him to a state facility where he's going to be evaluated or something and then sent to prison. He's now 21. So it's a matter of what happens next. Keeping him locked away in a prison or keeping him in a mental facility, that's what they're going to decide. By the time Dr. Loomis and a nurse gets to the mental facility, the patients are wandering the lawn. There's been some kind of escape. And then Michael, without a mask, attacks the nurse, steals the car, drives away. So the question then is, if he was locked up for 15 years, how did he learn to drive? Well, Dr. Loomis kind of mentions that, and he said, well, someone obviously was teaching him lessons, and that's why he got away. So it's interesting, who taught him how to drive? Then he goes back to Haddonfield, Illinois, to his family house, which has been abandoned all these years. Laurie's dad is a realtor. He's going to be selling the house, asks his daughter to bring the key to the house. So Laurie and her young friend Tommy, who she babysits and is babysitting Halloween night, then drops the key off at the mat. But Michael now has this mask on, wherever he found it, reasons unknown. And so he sees Laurie and Tommy, and then now he has the mindset, I'm going to get them. So the whole film is a lot of stalking, and it's a lot of him hiding behind the bushes. It's a lot of him driving the car that he stole, following Laurie to school, following Laurie and friends, following Tommy from school. Things. It's just creepy. It's very creepy how he just stares, and then he'll tilt his head. Very creepy. We have our shape mask. He references the shape quite a few times. References the boogeyman quite a few times, but he's actually referenced by name, Michael Myers. So when the attacking starts on Halloween night and he's, attacking Laurie's friends at the different houses across the street, things when he stabs that one friend in the wall and then he's just stays there, and it's just a creepy shot of watching the toes just stop moving as he's off the ground. And then Michael's just standing there and he's like this, and he's like this. Very disturbing. Laurie attacks him in the closet with a hanger and then steals his knife and stab him, and he falls down, and then she's in the doorway, and then it's a back shot, and then he sits up, and then he tilts and he goes like that, and it's just creepy. It's very creepy for a character who doesn't say anything, barely makes any noises. Very creepy. Laurie does get his mask off again at one point in the house of the kid that she's babysitting, who then the kid across the street is also brought over as well, in regards to babysitting together. Friend and babysit, co-babysitting for Halloween night. It's disturbing. It's a very disturbing film. It's a very well done film. It's a very fast-paced film. What's interesting, and I tried to keep track of this, he stabbed with a knitting needle, he stabbed with the hanger, he stabbed with a knife, with the kitchen knife. He's shot multiple times by Dr. Loomis. Then he falls out of a balcony, and then his body's missing. So he has numerous wounds to him and yet survives. He's unkillable. He's an unkillable villain somehow because he's the boogeyman. So the second film, Halloween 2, right after this, is directly right after. I think it's at the hospital that night, that same night, 1978. I've seen that. I've seen a few other of the sequels, remakes, etc. Not everything. I've seen bits and pieces of things, but not everything collectively all together. So this is the first time we're doing a full sit-down marathon of all 13 films. We're in for a long run, but we have to pay attention. We got to keep track of notes. We got to keep track of things. I like that the production aspect of it was they filmed obviously in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is clearly not Haddonfield, Illinois. Different trees, they don't get fall, etc. So they had to paint leaves. And Robert Englund, who plays Freddy Krueger, was actually one of the the production assistants or prop assistants or something on this set, and he one of his first jobs in Hollywood was this particular project, and his job was to collect the leaves after and between the scenes to then re-throw them in the fan so that way they blow and stuff. So it's just fun knowing that and then seeing it, and you're like, okay, well, obviously there's no leaves on the ground of the houses in the foreground, in the background, but now that there's leaves in the foreground, so it's all movie magic, right? The Michael Myers mask itself is a William Shatner Star Trek mask that they modified. They cut the eyes out a little bit more, they painted it white, but then the skin tone is just, fine. But again, where did Michael come to this mask? So they were really just trying to find a cheap mask readily available in the store that they could tweak and, use for their character. So I like that you see Michael's face twice in this, technically 3 times if you include him as a kid. But because it's rare, you don't really see him without his mask then moving forward. So the question still remains is, why is he dead set on Laurie Strode? Why is he dead set on Laurie? Like, is there something else? Is she reminiscent of his sister Judith? Like, things, right? I don't remember if things are evaluated or discussed moving forward, but we're going to pay attention. 1978 original Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween. On to the next review. What's your mahalo?